Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today I have with me none other than Massad Ayoob. Massad, thank you so much for being on the show.
Good to be here, Charlie.
I am completely honored. We're going to make it in front of these cars. I'm glad to have this opportunity. Like I was telling you before, when I had the idea for Riding Shotgun with Charlie, you were absolutely on the list of people that I wanted to interview. And lo and behold, we're here at an event for Florida Carry, and we both had the opportunity to speak. And I'm honored that you took the time to do this.
Sure, my pleasure.
Everyone knows everything about you because you've been around for a while.
Old. He's saying I'm old.
I didn't say he's old. He's been doing this for a while. So you started carrying a gun when you were young and you worked for your father.
Yeah, it was an unusual situation. My dad was a gunfight survivor, so was his father. It was pretty much understood before I came along that as soon as I was old enough to hold a gun, I'd be taught how to shoot one.
That's cool.
My dad owned a jewelry store in northern New England. And
live free or die?
There were guns in the store, of course.
Right.
Hither and thither. And when I started working there part-time at the age of 12, it was understood that part of the requirement would be you'd carry a firearm. And in that state, at that time, it was legal so long as they stayed within the boundaries of the store.
Yeah.
And was within the policy of the...
Woo! No, you know what?
Policy of the management.
Shotgun with Charlie.
So at the time it was legal?
Yeah, actually it still would be in that state today.
Right, live free or die up in New Hampshire. You wrote a book called Gun-Proof Your Kids.
Yes, more of a booklet. It's a small pamphlet-sized book.
Yep, I had one, and on the other side was the handgun primer.
Yep.
And I got that when I got into gun stuff, because my kids were young. And I read that, read it a bunch of times, and I let a friend borrow it, and I never got it back. So I'm like, all right, that sounds like a successful job. How do you think having a 12-year-old kid carry a gun at their dad's business, even though it's legal, with all of the nonsense that we live in now?
Well, basically, at the time, it would have been seen as outrageous also. The only people who knew about it were me and my parents and the chief of police. So long as you're discreet, so long as you don't do anything stupid, it's like anything else. There are people who reach an age of responsibility early and people who die of old age without ever having reached an age of responsibility. And it works essentially with how you happen to raise your kids. I raised both of my kids around guns with the same principles I put in Gun-Proof Your Children. Started them out at probably age 4, each of them helping me clean guns.
Yeah.
And that demystified them and it deglamorized them. But the reason I call it Gun-Proof Your Children is no parents have ever child-proofed anything. Okay? And if you all remember, there wasn't much your parents could hide from you. None of us is going to be the first generation to outsmart our children.
Right.
So when they're below an age of responsibility, you keep everything locked up and inaccessible. And gradually, a whole part of parenting is essentially, when I became a dad, I treated it as half father and half field training officer. Kid, here's the precinct, here are the scumbags, here are the good people you can trust, and here's how you tell the difference.
That's great.
And just like giving them a checkbook, I gave each of my kids had a checkbook at 8. Started teaching them to drive at 10. on private property.
Nice.
And basically they became very responsible life managers, money managers, parents and spouses themselves.
Very cool.
And very responsible drivers and very responsible gun carriers.
One of the stories I remember reading in one of your books, and I'm not sure if it was the Gun Proof Your Children, is the story where you were helping someone on the side of the road, and you gave your daughter a .38 and said if the guy comes towards you.
Well, that was well after the book. Yeah, my youngest was 11. She had just gone through my LFI 1 class, what we call MAG 40 today, a 40-hour class, and qualified to a police standard.
At 11?
At 11.
Oh,
she
God bless her.
She was the youngest to ever go through.
That's awesome.
And basically, she wanted to go to a match with me, so we went to a match at the Boston Gun and Rifle Club. We were driving north on the expressway north coming out of Boston, and I saw a Massachusetts state trooper in a fight with a guy on the side of the road. I said, honey, I got to pull over and help this guy, and as we're coming to a stop, I took the 38 Detective Special, my backup gun at that time, out of my ankle holster, handed it to her. Said, keep an eye on both of us, don't engage, stay in the car. If the guy overpowers us and comes toward the car, put 6 in the center chest.
Wow.
Kept the 45 on, ran over to help the trooper, and by the time I got there, the trooper realized, oh crap, there's another one, I give up. So I didn't even have to lay hands on the guy. But got back in the car, noticed the kid was very cool with it. And as soon as we started driving away, I said, give me your hand. And I took a radial pulse.
Yeah.
And half an hour later, took the pulse again, and virtually no difference. I think it was less than 10 beats a minute.
Really?
And it's something that, I had already known, but it was one of many things in my life that reinforced the principle. When you're dealing with fear, we fear what we don't understand, we fear what we can't control.
Right.
The kid understood what was happening. She had a mechanism of ultimate control in her hand if she needed it.
Right.
And that left her mind free to assess, see what's happening. Okay, they're handcuffing him now. I guess I'm not going to need this gun. That's good. And essentially, if you understand what it is that you're threatened by, if you have the mechanisms of control, certainly you're going to have reasonable fear. You don't want to be without fear.
Right.
But you won't have terror. Won't have helplessness. The ignorance and the helplessness are the two things that lead to debilitating fear, as opposed to the reasonable fear that the law expects us to have if we use force, which I would define as simply an apprehension of danger that any reasonable person would have perceived had they been in your situation, saw what you saw, heard what you heard.
Right. What did you know? When did you know? Kind of thing, right? Like this is what was happening at that time. Now, you've been, you got into becoming a police officer. You got into law enforcement.
Became a police officer in 1972. Got out of it for a couple of years in 1980. Went back to it in 82. And retired from it finally in 2017.
Very cool. Well, thank you for your service.
Enjoyed the heck out of it. That was where I became a firearms instructor, was in law enforcement. Didn't start teaching civilians actually till 1981.
Till 1981, gotcha. How now? In the meantime, you started writing. How did the writing? How did the writing come in with everything else?
There was a symbiosis with it. I had started writing in 1971. And the basic thing is write what you know. So my first articles appeared almost simultaneously. One in Gunsport magazine in 1971, and the other, I think the Gunsport was a little earlier, and a month or two later, Modern Jeweler magazine. Remember, I'd grown up in a jewelry store.
Yeah.
And started freelancing here and there, things that interested me, martial arts, shooting. Got into writing for the police journals.
Yeah.
And wound up doing that full time until probably 1982. Once I started the school in 81, that pretty much snowballed. And that wound up becoming my full-time occupation ever since. Part-time writer, part-time cop, always part-time cop.
Right.
Started out as full-time writer, part-time cop,
always been juggling those three jobs.
My daddy told me don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Now, I mentioned this to you as well. To me, there's the other person that does everything that you did was Jeff Cooper. So it's, to me, there's Jeff Cooper for the old stuff from the 50s and 60s, and I was excited to find a copy of the complete book of modern handgunning, which of course when I look at it now, it's not very modern. And then you came along and you were like the next.
Well, Jeff and I did two sides of it. Jeff was a great pioneer in defensive shooting, the development of what he called the modern technique of the pistol. My side of it, where I broke ground, was I was the first one to really talk about the legal side, the emotional aftermath, the psychological aftermath among people who had to do it. And we formed up differently. Jeff's teaching was a major in how and a minor in when. Mine was a major in when, and I like to think a strong minor, but still a minor in how.
Right. Like, there's a lot of your old books are, and not just the old ones, but it's all here's how you do this, here's how you do that. The hit the black target or hit the black spot. All these old books were the how, which is cool. What I find most intriguing is the when, and when you can use a gun, and that's. And I've heard I think I've read or heard you say that if you're going to take one of your mag classes, that you should take the non-firing one.
Well, the Mag 20 classroom or the Mag 40. The Mag 20 classroom is incorporated entirely within the Mag 40, but the Mag 40 also has 2 10-hour days of shooting, and it ends with a police type qualification. I like to, I don't let them take the written exam until they've shot the qualifier, simply because if I'm going to sign my name to a piece of paper that says you're competent to walk around carrying a loaded gun in public, and I've never seen you handle a loaded gun, that's kind of hollow.
Sure.
But the single one I'd recommend would be the 40-hour Mag 40, for someone who's already comfortable with their drawing from concealment skills, shooting skills, tactical skills with a gun. The 20-hour Mag 20, the classroom version, would be what I'd recommend.
Gotcha. You teach classes everywhere.
Well, I pretty much limit myself now to the United States. I just don't care to carry a gun, to be anywhere where I can't carry a gun.
Right.
It's not that I need the gun, it's that it's kind of a belief system thing.
Sure.
When I was little, my mother told me, son, do not go places where you are not wanted.
That's good advice.
If a state or a country has a sign up that says your kind is not welcome here, I feel no need to go there and bring a crap load of money and
right,
bring 20 or 30 or 40 people into that community to dump a crap load of their money.
That makes sense.
Basically, we teach continental U.S., Alaska occasionally. I've taught in Hawaii in the past.
That's pretty cool.
Typical year will be the Four Corners in the Heartland, Seattle area, California, Florida, of course, New England, and a whole lot of places in between.
That's great. That's
try to
really
follow
cool.
the weather as much as possible and use outdoor ranges.
Follow the weather. I like that. Instead of being a snowbird, you just follow the weather.
Gunbird.
Gunbird. There we go. I think I met you at the GRBC in Tampa, and you said you were. Oh my gosh, I'm going to screw it up. By Northern.
Oh, by Mason-Dixon.
By Mason-Dixon. That's it. Right. That's pretty comical.
I lived in northern New England for most of my life, and I finally realized that if people, with names like mine and genetics like mine were meant to live in frozen wastelands, camels would look like musk oxen.
Well, I guess
I'm a lot more comfortable where it's warm.
That totally makes sense. You still write for was it Backwoods?
Backwoods Home, which is brought out a print edition again after a year as all digital. And I do a blog on there, backwoodshome.com, where all your listeners and viewers are welcome to visit.
Awesome, cool. We'll put some links in for that. Absolutely.
I've been handgun editor for Guns Magazine for about 40 years now. And do the Ayoob Files and the Cop Talk section for American Handgunner. I've done that for about 30 years. And also about 30 years, the Self-Defense and the Law column for Combat Handguns Magazine.
This is a lot of writing.
Well, writing is easier than actual hard work.
It is. Did you, when you were young, I ask people this all the time, what did you want to be when you grew up? And would you have ever, I don't know, I guess thought you would have written as much as you
I would have said writer.
Yeah?
But I also realized doing the research in my teens that at that time there were never more than 3,000 to 5,000 people in America making a living as a freelance writer. I figured, okay, kind of narrow future here, kind of like pinning your hopes on being a basketball player or something.
Right.
But the interesting thing was, if you had asked me then, what are the least favorite jobs, what jobs would you have to do in hell, I probably would have said toss up between cop and teacher.
Really?
Live and learn. Don't judge a profession until you've partaken of it.
Gotcha.
See what it's really like, not what it looks like on TV, not what your friends tell you they think it is.
Right. The writing stuff is, so you liked writing when you were young?
I did.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't want to say I hate writing. I'd rather talk.
And yet here you are competing, basically communicating with the word, which written or spoken is the same damn thing. Except what you do, you have to look good.
Well, there's not so much I can do.
Writers can have a six-pack next to the typewriter and an ashtray.
Right. One of the
Hemingway thing.
One of the writers, I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked him if he said, and he wrote literature. He said, do you write when you're inspired? And he says, yes, I do write when I'm inspired. And fortunately, I'm inspired every day from 9 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. So it wasn't about writing or being inspired. It was about the discipline of getting up and writing.
The discipline really is there. I think it was Mark Twain who first said, if you love your job, you never actually have to work a day in your life.
Exactly.
I loved police work. I enjoyed writing. I loved teaching.
You got all those together.
I've been very fortunate.
All right, I think this is where we need to go to get back to where we came from. I never planned this. I never planned to get lost with people, but it always seems to happen.
Oh, you're multitasking.
And I know.
Let me apologize to anybody watching if it looks like I'm not making enough eye contact. I'm watching the road terrified because I know my driver is distracted by all these cameras.
I know. I'm not distracted by the cameras. I'm like, all right, how do we get back to where we came from? That's more what I'm concerned about. Because like I said, I've got some friends that are like, do you get lost with everybody? I'm like, no. But I do pick up people that I've never met before and drive places that I've never been before. So it's, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Nothing we can't handle because we are cool.
This is true. This is true. I've only had a couple people say that they would not be interested in doing a show with me, and one of them was a woman, and I'm not sure what her background was, but I know she thought it was really weird. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to get in the car with a complete stranger and drive around. I'm like, you know what? I completely respect that. But she's the only one that said absolutely no. But everyone else is like, yeah, sure, we'll see what we can do. Very cool. So, what else should people know about you? I've heard so many people say you're the nicest guy, and they all say that you have great stories and jokes.
Well, one thing you find when you've got to teach a grim topic, unalleviated grimness is going to shut down the learning circuits.
Oh, sure.
So you want to do something to wake them up, something to every now and then, let somebody laugh. It makes it more tolerable. And the other thing is, I figured out early, growing up is the first step to a dying of old age, and taking yourself too seriously is the first step to it growing up.
That sounds like some good advice.
Let people know you don't take yourself too seriously, but you've got to take the topic seriously.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
A God and a self-righteous person is a really bad different editions of like Gun Digest Book of 6 Hour, Gun Digest Book of Concealed Carry. It's 2021 somewhere in there.
Gotcha. One of the I hate to say I'm at this age, but I will admit that the reason I don't want to say I'm getting old, but the reason that I have problems with my eyes is because of my cell phone. I'm always on the phone. That's what I believe. But I have a copy of oh my gosh, the little blue book that's this thick.
Truth About Self-Protection.
Yes.
1983.
Can the font for that get any smaller? Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, I'm never going to get through this. I'm never going to get through this.
Remember, Bantam was one of the pioneers in paperbacks. And they figured out the smaller the print, the fewer pages we need.
A little more cost effective.
You saw how thick the damn thing came out. Anyway.
It's huge.
It's like 240,000 words.
I'm going to go back to that's a lot of writing. That's a lot of writing. I know your most recent book is Deadly Force?
Actually, next to the last. Deadly Force came out in 2014. And I put together a collection called Armed Defense.
Okay, that's got the black cover.
What the experts want you to know.
Gotcha.
And that I think of that as my Tom Sawyer whitewashing the fence book. One thing about being involved with all the groups I have been, International Law Enforcement Educators and Trainers Association for 14 years now, I think, on the advisory board. 19 years as chair of the Firearms Deadly Force Training Committee for American Society of Law Enforcement Trainers, is I got to know a tremendous number of subject matter experts and pick their brain. So I essentially took about a dozen of them, asked them to write a chapter on their specialty, everything from the physio-psychological phenomena and altered perceptions you experience in a life or death situation, written by Dr. Alexis Hartwell, who's probably our leading authority on that, to the what's called colloquially post-shooting trauma, the psychological aftermath of having had to use deadly force, by Dr. Tony Simone. Craig Douglas, also known as South Narc from his undercover days, on extreme close quarter threat management and recognition of assaultive behavior indicators. And it turned out to be a heck of a book. It's like Tom Sawyer whitewashing the fence. Your friends do all the work. the thing gets done, and you get the pat on the back for it.
That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. What do you think the most popular book is that you've written?
Most popular, well, over the years, In The Gravest Extreme, the role of the firearm in personal protection, was really the first book for private citizens to understand the law and the rules of engagement and the use of the gun in self-defense. That came out in 1980, and it's still in print, and it still sells reasonably well.
Well, that's cool.
The reason being not that I'm a brilliant prescient author or anything, but simply that deadly force law is really one of the most mature bodies of law that we have.
Interesting. I was wondering, I was just going to ask, how much has it changed since 1980 until now?
Not a heck of a lot. We have, people think, ooh, stand your ground law changes everything. No, not really. Even in the states that still have a retreat requirement, basically all stand your ground did was rescind the requirement to retreat before using deadly force in self-defense.
Okay.
Even in the states that still have it, and the states that had the retreat requirement before, retreat was never demanded unless it could be accomplished in complete safety to oneself and others within the totality of the circumstances.
Okay.
And if you think about it, neither of us nor any good person watching this would ever have killed anybody, no matter how violent, if they had been some other way they could have gotten out of the situation in complete safety to themselves and other innocent parties. What we're seeing is not so much a change in the law, but very much a change in strategies by politically motivated prosecutors, of whom, thank God, there are few, and greed-motivated plaintiffs' lawyers, of whom, unfortunately, there are way more than a few. We're seeing, for example, much more use, to some degree, certainly by politically motivated prosecutors, but especially by plaintiff's lawyers, of using publicists and PR people
I hate to do this.
basically create a smear campaign against the citizen or the cop who had to shoot. It gives the plaintiffs more leverage more pressure to put on the party they're suing, hoping they'll settle the case for big bucks to stop the pain and stop the smear. But also, unfortunately, once it has become a cause celeb, and an elected prosecutor has decided, well, gee, I just got to prosecute this guy, even though I personally think it was self-defense, the ball keeps rolling. And that's, I see it as a terrible breach of ethics, but it's also a reality that we have to face. We saw it in the Zimmerman case coming out of a 2012 shooting here in Florida. We saw it 2 years later in the Michael Brown shooting in Ferguson, Missouri. And we've seen it since in other cases.
Right.
And you really didn't see that before. In the old days, you didn't see angry and vengeful parents of a dead criminal hiring an attorney who brings in a PR guy to create a whole false narrative that ends up going nationwide, because your defenders, and if you're a cop, your police department, the ethos has always been, we don't try our cases in the press and call them on the court. Well, when the police don't answer and they're accused of police brutality, when your side doesn't answer and you're accused of being a racist who gunned someone down instead of someone who legitimately defended himself.
Right.
When that accusation is made and you don't answer, the general public sees it as
an admission of guilt.
Yeah, as nolo contendere. I do not contest the case against me, and only cops and law school graduates know that nolo contendere is not the same as the guilty plea. All they see is, well, the son of a bitch must be guilty. And when you're acquitted or when you win the civil suit, the rest of the world thinks you got lucky or you were the one with the shyster lawyer, and you and your family have to live with that for as long as you live. And that was not really nearly like it is now back in the day when I started.
Yeah, there's a lot to deal with when you have a shooting, obviously. I don't mean to change the topic.
Sure.
We're
lost, aren't we?
Shh. It's not my intention.
Don't blame me.
I know. I am the pilot. All right, we're spinning around here. I didn't think we went down far enough. No, I thought we didn't go down too far. I thought we went too far, but I don't think we went down far enough.
Well, we could possibly read
When all else fails.
Read it into.
All right, we got some time here. Let's see.
Don't expect me to help you, son. I'm descended from a race of people who navigate by letting the camel follow its nose.
All right, what was this place called? The Rainbow? The Rainbow Campground. Let's go with that. Rainbow Campground. All right, I don't think that's going to do it. I know someone had the someone gave me the address
I have
before.
the street address. Hang on. It'll take me a minute.
All right, I'm going to go this way. I don't think we went down far enough. Because I know the road was at a T intersection. But
all I know is it's not my fault, and you can't blame me.
I'm not.
If you learn nothing from this interview, take those words they're useful for multiple purposes. It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
Can't blame me.
There you go. That's the best legal advice from Massad Ayoob. It's not my fault. You can't blame me. Sometimes I'm a little concerned about doing too much on my phone with the cameras rolling, you know.
Yeah. Well, I worry about you having to worry about that, make eye contact with your interviewee, and stay on the road. You could, of course, get some nice, quiet little studio. You've got back window, road going behind you, playing in the background.
That looks cheesy.
Your guests can drink alcohol, and that'd be a bad example.
We're both drinking booze. We're getting all liquored up while we're driving.
Cigars. Like grown-ups, I might add. Life would be good.
Oh my gosh. I had someone ask me if I could interview them riding a motorcycle. And I said, that would be great. I don't know how to ride one. And that's when they said, you know what? Well, Charlie, you're gonna have to ride bitch. And I'm like, okay. I don't know if that's a good idea then.
There's a term of
I tried to figure out. I'm like, all right, we could put cameras on our heads. We could put some on the windshields. Get microphones, rig them up. We could totally make it happen.
Do we need to? I have the address if you need to read it.
Yeah, just sure. Here. Put it in right there. See, this is the airport that we passed. I thought I followed Kevin past this airport on the way to the event.
Here I go, kid.
Continue straight.
There we go. All right, so we haven't missed it.
In a half mile, turn left onto Southwest 139th Court.
139th court, and that goes to
Arab navigators don't usually turn out this well.
They really don't. Yeah, this is interviewing people this way has been a lot of fun. I've like I said, I picked up people and I'm like, all right, I don't know where we're going, so you need to figure it out. All right, this is
Turn left onto Southwest 139th Court.
139th court. All right, we're gonna go one more. Let the good times roll, right?
It's an adventure.
It is an adventure.
Not just an interview, it's an adventure.
It is. I like this a little more because, rather than doing it over Skype, because people get to see what it's like, driving around with the cool people. And
I get to see us go.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a little different. I
Head
like
east
it.
on Southwest Highway 4 and 84 80th Avenue Road towards Southwest 134 Court.
All right, how do we do this?
Turn left onto Southwest 134 Court, then turn left onto Southwest 115th Place.
Hang on. All right, so we did miss something. So here I am driving around lost with Massad Ayoob in Florida. All right, I need to see
Turn
a
left.
picture. Oh, great. You're I didn't put the camera on the hood.
You need a camera on the hood.
I do. I usually put it on the hood, but I'm like, yeah, it'll be quick and easy.
Turn left onto Southwest 136th Court Road.
I usually do have one on the road on the hood, but
It's facing this way. We need one facing forward for this run.
right. No, just so we can get some B-roll and some extra vid.
Turn left onto Southwest 136th Court Road, then turn right onto Southwest Highway 484.
That's on here, so.
All right. Holy moly! Right. So last time we saw Charlie and Massad Ayoob. Charlie, you're the one that killed Massad Ayoob. It wasn't lethal force. Didn't need a gun. All he needed was a rental
Turn
car.
right.
Man.
I see a clickbait thing on HuffPost. Watch scary videos that did not, scary interviews that did not end well.
Did not go well. Right. I was interviewing somebody, and we had a rental car. We were at JRPC in Chicago.
Continue straight.
And they're like, well, you got the insurance, and you're not afraid to use it. Like, that was pretty funny. All right, tell us some more funny stories. I love hearing you. Like, you've got to have a boatload of funny stories. So not just to keep people alive. I've been telling people, I've been teaching gun classes for a while, and I always tell them that I tell them about you and about In The Gravest Extreme, and I said anything you read from Massad Ayoob is going to be gold.
Yeah.
And I said you can go to a magazine rack and pick up 3 magazines. He's going to have an article in at least 1, maybe 2 of them.
Well, it depends which section of the magazine rack.
Okay, the gun magazines.
Okay.
Right, not the glamour ones, not the nudie books. So, let's hear a funny story.
Oh, funny story. Well, we were talking about, moving down here versus the Four Seasons climb. And one thing, this is not a joke, this is the truth. When I lived up there, it was like, oh, you're an Arab. No wonder you're so swarthy. Ever since I moved down here, it's like, oh, you're from Florida. No wonder you're so tan. there are cultural differences here, and gun owners are not the only victims of culture war.
To me, it was weird. This sounds really ridiculous, and I can't believe it's going to come out of my mouth. But when I tell people you need to read Massad Ayoob. They always give me, like, raise one eyebrow. And I'm like, no. He's not a terrorist. He's a good guy. But they're like, really? Massad is his name? Are you sure? I'm like, yes. Really?
When I moved to Florida, the cleaning lady I hired, I found out later the first day, she called the sheriff's department. Said, I brought him to clean this guy's house, and he has an Arab name, and there's gun stuff.
Right. Right, it's the whole, if you see something, say something.
The sheriff was like, yeah, honey, it's okay.
We know who he is. We've got his books. He taught us. That's too funny. So, you have a podcast that you guys do as well, right? The Pro-Arms podcast?
Well, you met Gail Pepin, of course.
Yep.
She is the producer, editor, and therefore editor of the Pro-Arms podcast. That was put together several years ago by a bunch of us, the Pro-Arms shooting team from Pro-Arms Gun Shop. Probably a loose group of about 10 of us in the industry. John and Terry Strayer own Pro-Arms.
Yeah.
Both state and regional shooting champions. Gail is the, as I said, producer editor. Steve Denny, retired SWAT cop and police supervisor, is the host and moderator. Myself, Herman Gunter is our resident Class 3 expert. Chris Christian, the gun writer and hunting writer, many of you have grown up reading. And we do a lot of interviews with gunfight survivors, both police and civilian. We've interviewed some of the great shooting champions. We have one we're waiting to edit with Brian Zins, who won the Bullseye Championship nationwide more than anyone else in history.
Wow.
We had
In a half mile, turn right onto Southwest 180th Avenue Road.
Gail created a subset podcast by and for female shooters that she called The Broadcast.
The Broadcast.
And, if you don't think there's a double standard, if I had suggested that be called Broadcast, I would have been castrated.
Right,
They would have
right. You're a misogynist, you're a sexist.
But the chicks is like, oh, Gail, that's cute. But she talks to female shooting champions, female instructors, female holster designers, which is so important because so few good holsters made by women for women who carry.
Continue on Southwest 180th Avenue Road for 2 miles.
All right,
She has a wonderful interview with Luann Hamlin. Luann is a career cop, and I think she's retired now and teaching full-time. Splendid instructor, and the only woman I know of to ever win the Ironman contest.
Wow. Did they change it to Iron Woman?
They should have. I'm sure you could hear the testosterone level drop.
Hear the testosterone drop, hear all the jokes.
Interviews Gila Hayes, who runs Firearms Academy in Seattle. Marty Hayes, and Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network.
And Gila's got some books out.
She does.
I have a couple of those.
The Armed Defense, The Woman, the Gun, and the Plan. For the podcast, go to proarmspodcast.com.
All right,
and she's got dozens and dozens of those on file, available, of course, for free download.
Very cool. All right, well, we are almost where we need to be. We are going to find our spot back. We don't have to call, we don't have to call Gail and say that some crazy guy, kidnapped your husband. So, all right.
It's not every day that the Arab is the one who gets hijacked, folks. You may have witnessed history.
I didn't say this, but that's gold. All right, how can people find all of your stuff, find your books?
Massad Ayoob Group, MassAyoob Group.com. We have classes nationwide, some staff taught, some of which I teach, and it's all pretty self-explanatory on the website.
Very cool. So people definitely need to go there to check out all of your stuff. How about books? Do you sell books? You sell books?
I no longer sell books, but just write the darn things. But plug my name in at Amazon, and
everything comes up. Very cool, very cool. All right, well, listen, Massad Ayoob, thank you so much for being on this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. I can honestly say it's been more adventurous than most interviews.
Well, see, that's what I'm going for. That is totally what I'm going for. How to make it a little more interesting so it's a little less boring. And
Riding with Charlie, the Fast and the Furious.
There we go. That could be the spin-off, right? All right, well, listen, we are going to be turning here. Please check out all of the other podcasts on the Self-Defense Radio Network. The website is sdrn.us. I know we're slowing down before we turn. Just a little bit. The Self-Defense Radio Network is where all of your pro-freedom podcasts are. Is yours on there?
I believe we are.
You are. Very cool, very cool. So check out all that, and we will talk to you guys next time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Massad Ayoob. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening, folks.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Be safe.